Okay. Well, good evening and welcome to the Young and New Masons virtual Interclub Social Extra. We're pleased to welcome back Keith Seplak, a Shriner from Arizona in the United States. It was great to have you on last week, Keith, and thank you so much for joining us once again. We're also with your hat, which is great. There is a question about hats, and also Matty's back as well. Well, Matty, you're here every week, but also with a hat on. Matty, do you want to just explain first how you came to get your hat?
I was just lucky enough to go and visit a lodge over in Phoenix, in Arizona, Paradise Lodge, and I was lucky enough to meet Keith and James as well, and it was an interesting meeting. It's completely different to how we would have our meetings over in England. But nonetheless, it was thoroughly enjoyable, and it was great to see how they do their signs and everything else as well in the meetings. And then Keith and James kindly took me after the meeting down to their office and down into a few rooms, and they shared the clown units and some of the photos of you guys in your makeup, and then showed us some. I think there was a motorcycle unit as well. Harley Davidson had designed some motorbikes for the Shriners, which was really interesting. And then they kind of gifted me with a hat, and I came back with absolutely tons of things from Phoenix, from the lodge and from the Shriners Temple as well. It was brilliant.
Fantastic. And Keith, it's great to have you back with us. Thanks for giving us some more time to quiz you on everything Shriner and your history as well. How have you been?
I've been good. Staying away from the COVID and just staying home and doing yard work.
I think, yeah, you and everybody else. I don't think it matters where you are in the world. Everyone's doing the same. Everybody's gardens never look so good, I think.
Yep.
Cool. Right, so we've got some questions. So what we'll do, we'll just we'll alternate the questions between myself and Matty, and feel free to answer how you wish. So Barry couldn't be here this evening, so he sends his apologies, but the first question actually is from Barry from the Essex Cornerstone Club, and he says, there are photos of the Shriners in little red cars. What is that all about?
Well, that's just one unit within the shrine. There are several different shrine units, and each one, when we parade in different communities around Arizona, or whether it's around the United States or Canada, Mexico, or any of the 13 nations we're in, we've gotten known for being in little miniature cars. They're exact replicas of whatever car they're doing. We have semi-trucks, little red cars. I drive a mini 1934 Roadster in my clown outfit. So, I mean, they're exact replicas, stereos, everything. So it's just a way for us to get out into the community and to make a contact with the kids as well as the adults, because the cars are an attention grabber. Everybody wants to, in the United States, everybody wants to see the shrine. They want to see the little cars. They want to be in the little cars. They want to drive the little cars.
Do you think that plays an important part for when these kids grow older and they remember the cars and the Shriners so vividly, and their parents, you know, because obviously you do so much good for society and hospitals and kids in general. Do you think that's a good recruitment tool, indirect recruitment tool?
Absolutely. I think it is, because we get the kids that are, I call them kids, but late 20s, early 30s, remember seeing their parents going to the shrine and going to all these events and driving the little cars. So absolutely, it is a great, useful tool to draw people in.
Fantastic. And the cars, are they like pedal cars, or they've got motors, or what?
They have motors. They have anywhere from a 2.5 horsepower motor all the way up to 10 horse for some of them.
That's quicker than your van, Matthew.
Yeah. Mine's usually in the garage though.
Yeah. Matthew can't actually drive up hills. He can only go to jobs that that live down the hill, and he moves house all the time. Great, that's perfect. Thanks for answering the question.
Keith, our next one is from Darren Coldman from the Connolly Club. And his question asks, was John Wayne a Shriner?
Yes, he was a Mason and he was a Shriner. He was out of a temple in Los Angeles called El Malika Temple.
What is the draw for celebrities, especially through Masonry? Because you don't hear many really famous people being Masons anymore. You take the likes of John Wayne, and a lot of your presidents were from Freemasons. Why don't you think many famous people these days turn to Freemasonry?
A lot of them use it as a stepping stone for some type of program that they can promote and a place for them to donate their money to. Like Drew Carey is a member of El Malika. He's a comedian here in the United States. There's several of them out of Canada that use the Shriners as a means to promote kids and the things that we do for kids.
Fantastic. All right, great. Bob Ray from the Leicester and Rutland Light Blue Club says, Keith, what do the different collection of fezzes behind you represent, and are they different offices?
Most of them are different offices that I've held within the shrine. Two of them are family heirlooms. One was my grandfather's fez, who was what we call the potentate, of the CEO of Mizpah Shrine, which is out of Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then one's my great-grandfather, who was out of Chicago.
So when you take up a position, so the position you're in now of Chief Rabban, you get given that and you get to keep it, or do you have to return it once your term's up?
It just depends. If the temple buys it for you, you'll return it back to them. Like some of mine were chief of staff fezzes that I turn back in, and they get reused again because they haven't gotten dirty. Some of them I bought myself, like the Clown Presidents, Legion of Honor, which is our military group. I bought those fezzes on my own, so I get to keep them.
And without prying too much, how much is a fez worth?
It depends on which ones you get. If you get a stitched one like Matt has, those run about $150. And they go, I'm wearing right now what's called a triple jeweled, or if you can see the letters, there's 3 lines of jewels within it. And these are usually your main officers within the shrine temple. These run about $350. You can go up to a 5 jewel, but it just gets ostentatious, really, when you have that many jewels on it, and those run about $1,000.
So they're worth keeping safe.
Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
The one thing I did like, Keith, I think, especially when I visited Paradise Lodge, was that you obviously design your own aprons within lodge as well. You see, because over in England we don't do that. Our Master Masons aprons they're set, as well as the Fellow Craft and the Entered Apprentice aprons. It was I thought that was a really good idea.
Yeah, we have one of our people own a material seamstress shop, and he created those aprons for us, kind of a little more dressy type things. And then we have our everyday lambskin aprons that we wear as well.
Am I right in saying that your Grand Master for your state of Arizona, they designed their own lapel badges for their year?
Yes, they do.
Yeah, I have like about 12 right now. Some of them are absolutely beautiful, and actually I was given quite a few of these well. I can't remember what you call them now.
Those are bolos.
That's right.
Those are like a Western tie.
Yeah. And there's some quite nice ones there.
And each year, the potentate or the CEO of the shrine will design his own bolo for his year. And he uses it as a fundraiser to raise money for the general fund within the shrine.
Is that quite particular state to state? Because I know bolos replace ties, but I mean, I wouldn't necessarily expect to see one of those in, say, New York State or some.
No, that's mostly a southwestern, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. There's some in Southern California. Use the bolo. Once you go back east, it's more of an actual tie or a bow tie that they use.
And what is the why? Is it because it's quite hot in those states and a tie is too much, or is it the meaning better than?
It is very hot. Like today, it's going to be 110 here, and that constriction around the neck with a tie. And a lot of it actually stems from when we were Old West. People would stray away from the tie because it looked too much like a noose, and they didn't want to get strung up by on the trees.
Which probably happened quite a lot back then.
Yeah.
If the movies are anything to go by.
Yeah, it did.
Right. Our next question, we got Gareth Towner, and he's from the Macworth Club in West Wales, and he asks, I'm interested in the historical basis. Who were the ancient Arabic nobles, and what and where was the shrine?
Okay. The ancient order of the nobles of the mystic shrine is our original name.
Right, okay.
When we started in New York City in 1870, it was just the United States that had Shriners. And as we grew temples or shrine centers around the world, we decided in 2009 to change our name from Nobles of the Mystic Shrine to Shriners International, because we truly went worldwide helping kids.
Can I also just add to that? How did you spread the message once you get across the Atlantic? Because obviously it's quite a large gap in between. And how would you convey your message from over in America to set up and actually get a good grounding for over in Europe and beyond?
A lot of it was word of mouth when we first started going overseas. It was word of mouth through contractors with the federal government, or the military personnel started different clubs and stuff within, and then those clubs were seen within the community on all the good they were doing. So it made people want to join that club, whether it was in Germany or France or England. And it just expanded from there.
So really, it all started from grassroots again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh, that's brilliant.
And the Shriners are pretty much known from our perspective as building a healthcare system whereby they look after kids mainly. Can you tell us more about that?
Actually, I can play a video here, and hopefully we can get the audio going.
Oh, that went into the video smoothly, didn't it?
That was very smooth, almost too smooth. I don't think anybody would have noticed had we not mentioned it.
Okay. We have the audio.
In 1922, the world was changing. The industrial age had taken root, and the American economic engine was firing on all cylinders. Skyscrapers began to fill cityscapes, and America's baseball team, the Yankees, was finally building their first stadium in the Bronx.
Sorry, Keith, we couldn't see the video there. We could hear it, but we couldn't see it. Could you try it again?
Okay.
Thank you. But we got the sound this time, which is awesome. Nope.
In 1922,
What is it with my video? Doesn't want to do it.
The socials on this video is not meant to be, is it?
I don't think so.
Well, we got it going a second ago, so I think we'll be all right.
I can just see. Let me try again.
in 1922,
Yep.
No, it wasn't. No, you can't see it still. Anyway, I'll tell you what. Why don't we? We'll carry on with the questions, and then we'll put the videos up. We'll try again in a bit. The next question comes from Barry, Essex Cornerstone again. He said, do you have degrees like craft Freemasonry in the shrines?
Within the shrine?
Yeah.
No. It's a one-day class to become a Shriner. And you go through 3 sections within the shrine, but it's all done in one day.
Right. Can you run us through, without giving the game away? What is a typical day going through your shrine degree to? Is it an all-day event? What takes place, or is it a big festival type thing?
More festival. It won't take all day. Usually takes about 2 hours to run through the entire program that we do. It's basically a play like any of the degree work within the masonry. It's a play, and each section has a message to get across to you. And then the last degree ties in masonry with Scottish Rite, with York Rite, with the shrine, and shows how we all work together within our community to make it a better place.
And this is a day, a whole day. How long does a degree take? And is it quite like coming into Freemasonry? Is it mysterious and you're not meant to know anything?
It takes about 2 hours to run through all 3 degrees. And the only thing that's really secretive within the different sections is the do-guards and signs and the passwords. And those we do in a private setting with the candidates, as we call them, so that nobody else can hear them and that kind of stuff. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty much open to the public. We even have our ladies sit in on the first and second sections of the play, so that they can see what their husband or their significant other is getting into.
Yeah, I find that quite interesting, and it's actually quite warming. Every time I've gone to the States and joined the Masonic Lodge, it's very family orientated. I mean, the meals usually before the meeting, and the family's there, the friends are there, and everybody's enjoying that social gathering. And then obviously the guys go and do the rehearsals of the meeting and stuff, and everyone leaves. It just seems such a more involved, connected unit, to which we don't have really to a degree, because we have a couple of occasions a year, maybe when friends and partners and wives join in. But do you think that makes a difference? Do you think if you didn't have that family orientated connection, it wouldn't be so popular?
I do. I think by involving the family, whether it's at a mealtime or at our fundraisers, I don't think that we would get the involvement that we do from the different generations across the span.
Great, thank you.
Keith, our next one is from Jake, more commonly known on our socials as Jake's iPhone. What do you know about your family history in Masonry?
My family history within Masonry, I am a 7th generation Mason, and a 5th generation Shriner. the 7 generations I can trace back in the United States, because it's a little easier for us to verify with the different Grand Lodges. I lose track once I go over well, my family's from Czechoslovakia area, and I lose contact, and unless you're physically present in Czechoslovakia, they won't verify anybody that has been a part of the Masonry within that jurisdiction. So I kind of lose it when it goes there. But I'm sure there's more generations of Masons within my family, because my last name actually means guardian of the king. And we were the royal guards for the king of Czechoslovakia. And they were all Knights Templars.
Oh, wow.
To be a royal guard.
That's ace. So when you date it back in terms of the American history, how far back does that go?
I can trace back the 7th generation to 1704.
Oh, wow.
And I could trace it back to.
So that was when America was very new.
Oh, absolutely.
It's ace.
Absolutely.
That's brilliant. So do you find that's one of the main drives for you wanting to become a Freemason before you did, and also another drive for you to carry on your Masonic, I guess, career or path or life because of your family members?
To a point, it has driven me to take those steps with my family, but it's not the only reason that I became a Mason and why I still drive forward trying to be a leader within the shrine and within Masonry. I think a lot of it has to do with my grandfather teaching me Masonic lessons before I even knew what they were. So, yeah, it has a point to push me. Unfortunately, it probably will end with me, but we'll see.
I think that would be a shame if it did. I mean, do you have sons in your family that you don't?
I have no children to carry on the Masonic. I do have some nephews that maybe someday might, but I don't know. The rest of my family doesn't seem to want to carry on that family tradition of being a Mason and being a Shriner, but maybe we'll see.
I do think one of these, I guess, growing up probably, I don't know, 50, 60 years ago, and knowing that your grandfathers, I mean, this is speaking kind of for everyone, I think, you know, when you have family members and, you know, family life was a bit different back then without technology and everything else. And I do think you tend to follow in the footsteps of your family members and what they've achieved and what they've accomplished. And I do agree. I think in terms of having your fathers or your grandfathers in Masonry, it doesn't tend to be a big thing to spur people on anymore. But I actually truly believe if people really got into it and they experienced and immersed themselves in Masonry, and obviously in the shrine as well, and really saw the benefit that you're given to other people, let alone how it teaches you morally as well, people would really pick up on it and get involved.
I would hope so. That the generations that we have now within the Masonic family, would hope they would drive their kids into the Masonic lessons and to help spread it. But what I've seen as a Mason is the younger generation of kids don't want to join Masonic families because they don't see anything in it for them. They don't get the intangibles and the lessons of morality that we do spread within our brotherhood.
Yeah.
It's almost one of those things though, like I find with Freemasonry in particular that, and it's just like being born into a religious family, you're more likely to become a Christian or, you know, follow that religious line because that's what you do every week. Masonry is slightly different in the fact that it doesn't happen all the time. And it's a very personal journey. I think the people that want to join Masonry will ultimately join, whether it takes, you know, when they take to it at an early age, like your son would, you know, for instance, or whether you take it off later life, because I know so many people that have joined at 60 and 70 and then say, oh, I wish I joined 30, 40 years ago. So
Yeah.
I think it's such a personal journey. I just wonder what the code is to reach out to people and say, you know what, you want to take note of what's going on here now, because this could be for you, and if it's not, then that's fine. But I think that's Masonry universal. It doesn't suit everybody, but we need to reach out to people in particular and say, you're a great candidate. This could be for you.
I do think, though, at times that the fact that we've got such easy access to information now and communication between everyone globally, I think we're really in a better place now than we ever were to kind of advertise Masonry as a benefit to everyone. I mean, really, I think this era that we're in should be it's quite a crucial era, really, in terms of dwindling numbers and everything else. I think we've got the technology in our fingertips, and I think really it should be used and used well and efficiently.
I think so.
Keith, you talked about your life in the forces over in the States. Gareth Evans from the Mackworth Club asked, "What's your Masonic? What is the Masonic following like in the U.S. forces generally?"
I think it's like any lodge. It depends on where you're at. Like when I was stationed down in North Carolina with my airborne and engineer units, the Masonic Brotherhood was big on that base. But when I went to Fort Benjamin Harris, which is just outside of Indianapolis, Indiana, didn't see another brother within any of the lodges, that were all within pretty much walking distance of the post. When I was overseas in Afghanistan, we had a traveling lodge that was based out of Stuttgart, Germany. Received their charter through those guys, that they had a lodge and they met and they did fundraising in Afghanistan. Yeah, so it just depends on where you're at. I think it's just like the rest of lodges around the world. It just depends on, can you get the name out there? Can you show something in it for the average person?
Yeah, I think on the reverse side of that, especially in Wiltshire, there's been a huge drive, because Wiltshire's quite a military town. We've got quite a few stations, and Salisbury Plain, which is a huge training ground for the army and the forces in general. But a lot of people that join Freemasonry in Wiltshire miss that camaraderie that they had with the forces, and they're looking for that same fellowship and friendship between a group of guys. So that's been a real push, and I think there was the drive to infiltrate the areas where these stations were and retired military personnel lived, just to try and say, what, Masonry's out there, and it's a lot similar to what you've had in the past in your military career. So and it's had quite a good uptake, and we've got a few military lodges in Wiltshire, Lodge of Brothers in Arms and Meet in Salisbury, and they go from strength to strength. So I think it's
and it can open doors. I mean, you get a new inner apprentice Mason or a new master Mason that's part of the military, it can open doors. It can, by them going to lodge, they might, hey, this general or this colonel over here, he's a Mason as well within my lodge, and he may just throw you a bone or something to get you started in the right direction on your military career too.
Yeah.
Keith, do you, in America, do you have any affiliated lodges that kind of subscribe more for military personnel or police personnel or anything such as that?
Not police that I know of, but there are lodges that strictly focus on military traditions and brotherhood. We do have a Masonic, we call them drill team, that perform the third degree in a military precision. So it's a lot interesting. It's very interesting to watch them do a drill and ceremony to put on a Master Mason degree.
That sounds ace. I mean, I was thinking as well, because I think we briefly mentioned somewhat about universities on the last meeting.
Mhm.
Do you have any kind of affiliated lodges that meet for university students, or do you do any kind of outreach towards university students?
We have done an outreach to some of the fraternities and to the alumni associations within those fraternities to try and draw some younger members that no longer have that fraternal organization within that they gained when they were at college. Um, most of the fraternities, their ritual work that they do for the kids is Masonic based. Um, the number one fraternity within Arizona, anyway, that we've drawn off of is what's called Acacia Lodge or Acacia Fraternity. And they were founded by Masonic brothers back in 1909. And all of their ritual work that they go through for the fraternity is the same ritual work that we do as Masonic brothers.
And would they come under the Constitution of Grand Lodge of Arizona?
No, they do not. What they are is a fraternal organization. They gain a lot from the DeMolay type, which is the younger kid group within the Masonic Lodge, but their jurisdiction is actually under the fraternal Greekhood.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Well, our next question is from me. What do you have to do to progress through the units in Shrine?
Well, once you become a Shriner, you can just petition any group or unit within the Shrine, whether they're a parade unit or a social group within the Shrine, and you just have to petition them and pay their annual dues, whatever they may be. Most of the time the dues are inexpensive. They're like 10 to 20 bucks.
So in terms of you being the chief Rabban, you've also got the postante,
The potentate.
potentate. You've also got your assistant Rabban, which I think is James, and then you've got a few below you as well. So how do you progress to a point that you're in these offices?
These are leaders within the Shrine, and they, at some point in their Shrine career, decide that they want to be on our board of directors, and they'll make to say anything less, a political run, basically, because they have to get votes from all the Shriners within your Shrine Club or Shrine Temple. And it takes 51% of the nobility to get on the line. And that starts at what's called the Oriental Guide, and it's a 5-year line that you have to run for each position to get up to potentate.
And as potentate, what's your task? What have you got to do? What is your role?
You're the CEO of the Shrine Temple. You oversee every fundraiser, every operational stuff. It's kind of like being the worshipful master of a lodge. You're overseeing the budgets, you're creating the budgets, you're doing everything to try and further Shrinedom within your area and around the world.
And is there, in terms of your shrine and your temple that you have, do you have like a comparative grand lodge for Shriners? For Shriners International, is there like a collective that the potentates go to and speak to, or yourself or whoever, that kind of govern the collective of Shriner temples?
We do. It's called our Imperial Divan line. And that line is actually a 12-year line to progress from outer guard all the way up to the Imperial Sir, who is our chief person within Shriners International. That takes a lot of time, a lot of commitment, and a lot of traveling around the world to be on that line.
I can imagine. So when you do these all this traveling and you go visit these different hospitals and these different temples and everything else that you have to do, is this something that is your own expense, or can you take this out of the Shriners Fund?
Nope, this is all out of your own pocket to go visit hospitals, to travel to different shrine centers around the United States, or the 13 different. It's all on your own dime.
And lastly, just to follow up on the question about progression through the Shriners, can you expand a little bit more on what kind of units you have in Shriners?
Sure. We have our military unit, which is our Legion of Honor. They carry our flags in the colors of Shriners and Shriners International whenever we do parades or any kind of special event. We have the Clowns, which are Shriners and Masons that just love to make people laugh. And we put on full makeup and all that, and we do skits and comical routines to make everybody laugh and have fun. We have motorcycle unit. We have what we call our transportation unit, which is all the little miniature cars that we parade in. They're part of that unit. They have fun. They have little miniature semi trucks and Model A Fords and little miniature roadsters and all kinds of different little cars. If you can drive a big car, there's a little one that matches it someplace. We have our El Dulabs, which is anybody that drives a classic car. And those guys usually carry the divan in the parades, but they do social long road trips, taking their cars around Arizona or wherever. We've got some guys that drive 60 muscles cars from the United States. We've got a couple of MGs that are in there from the early 50s. Just depends on what kind of old car. All it has to be is classified as a classic car, which is 25 years or older. We have our mounted horse patrol, which they are all ranchers someplace around Arizona that ride horses together within the parades. We have computer clubs. We have a gaming club that we started. We have a social club we call the Young Guns. And Young Guns is anybody 50 years and younger that just like to go out and have fun. And we go around to different lodges, go to meetings. We take the Demon Lake kids paintballing. We host a Super Bowl party for the Young Guns within Shrineham. What else do we have? We have different band units that we have. We have a full 20-piece orchestra that we have within the shrine. We have a drum and bugle corps that is nothing but bugles and drummers. So Shriners basically feel that if you can get 5 or more people with the same interest, we'll start a club. We even have we even have a brew club that they go out and they brew beer and spirits, and they just enjoy tasting the different brews and spirits that everybody likes to make. And they go around to the different microbreweries in Arizona or the wineries in Arizona and travel just to taste and try and replicate that at home.
Wow. I mean,
it's amazing. It's so connected. That is what Masonry is all about, you know, and the different clubs and where you can go, and where it's taken me personally from just like reaching out. And I know that if I called you or emailed you prior to coming to Arizona, you know, you'd take me in and show me a good time and show me the Masonic Lodge and what you do. And that's also what it's part of, isn't it? And having groups like that appeals to so many different micro groups, which again, not only brings people together, but it shows them that, you know, it's quite fun being a Shriner or a Mason, indeed.
Absolutely. We take you around and show you a good time.
I know Matty's already told me the good times, so rest assured. So can we try your video again, about the healthcare system? I think that would be great for everyone to see.
All right.
I'm hoping it works this time.
Working?
Yep.
Okay.
In 1922, the world was changing. The industrial age had taken root, and the American economic engine was firing on all cylinders. Skyscrapers began to fill cityscapes, and America's baseball team, the Yankees, was finally building their first stadium in the Bronx. The nation was on the rise, but so too was something else. A contagious and sometimes deadly disease that was paralyzing hundreds of thousands of children. Polio. And in 1922, it was an epidemic. That's when a group of dedicated men decided that something needed to be done to help children and families. Shriners made it their mission to establish a healthcare system that could help children affected by polio, and Shriners Hospitals for Children was born. Today, polio is under control, but all over the globe, the mission to help kids continues. We have grown into one of the largest pediatric specialty healthcare systems in the world, providing advanced care for children with orthopedic conditions, burns, spinal cord injuries, and cleft lip and palate. Every day, it is the children that inspire an entire healthcare system to be pioneers in research and medical modernization. In fact, innovations in treatment practices first discovered and performed at Shriners Hospitals for Children are now standard procedures around the world. World-class research and medical education continues to define us as a leader in modern pediatric care. Outreach efforts have expanded to 120 clinics in 18 countries, extending Shriners Hospitals care beyond the walls of our hospitals and into rural communities and places where specialty healthcare may be inaccessible. Physicians and nurses provide convenient, permanent, and portable access to specialty healthcare services to kids who may have otherwise gone untreated. Other teams are impacting children across the globe, kids who have almost no access to healthcare, let alone specialty healthcare. It is this limitless approach to providing care outside the hospital walls that gives Shriners Hospitals for Children the ability to respond in times of crisis. Recently, when tragedy struck children in Taiwan, Mexico City, and Guatemala, it was fast-acting Shriners who offered the assistance and the expertise in life-saving burn care from the doctors at Shriners Hospitals that helped these children in crisis. This rapid response has earned us a reputation as a global force for kids. Technology is also playing a role in the future of Shriners Hospitals for Children, and we are embracing it. A new network of telehealth centers are coming online. These centers allow doctors and nurses to speak to, examine, and treat patients in remote parts of the United States and overseas, expanding access to health care for those that need it most, allowing Shriners Hospitals to come directly to the patient to ease the burden of long-distance travel. Very soon, Shriners Hospitals for Children will be the largest pediatric telehealth network in the world. Over the years, we have developed professional affiliations and partnerships with other world-class medical universities, facilities, and global health organizations. You may not know that Shriners Hospitals for Children has treated children from virtually every country in the world. In 2017 alone, Shriners Hospitals treated children from 125 different countries, with over 12,000 outreach encounters. In North America, the Shriners Hospitals for Children healthcare system is known for pioneering pediatric burn care. We maintain the largest network of pediatric orthopedic surgeons and developed the first model for spinal cord injury rehabilitation designed for children. Our network of motion analysis centers and low-dose radiation X-ray equipment is the largest in the world. New outpatient services and other treatment improvements are being implemented every day, making our network an ever-evolving, compassionate place for world-class pediatric care. All of this is possible because of talented medical staff, hard-working administration, dedicated Shriners, and generous donors working together to help as many children as possible. Just as in 1922, when polio demanded a change to pediatric care, Shriners Hospitals for Children was there. And as the pediatric medical landscape is changing, Shriners Hospitals will meet the challenge. Because what mattered to us then still matters to us today, remaining an innovative, ever-evolving organization that compassionately helps as many children as possible, regardless of their family's ability to pay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But there are more children that need us.
That's an amazing video, and it just really shows the scope of what you guys are actually doing, and to how many people you're helping as well. It's incredible.
There was definitely a lot of impact to that video. I mean, that really is quite incredible, the stuff that you guys do in terms of Shriners. Regarding that, Keith, is there certain eligibilities is there certain things like that you have to tick off to be able to visit these hospitals, other than having obviously the burns and the spinal problems, and is there got to be a checklist?
Are you talking as far as the kids,
Yes,
or
yes.
for us
Patients.
as Masonic brothers?
The patients.
The patients. What we do is, if we're out and about and we see a child that we think we can help within our system, whether it's for a disability, burns, cleft palate, spinal cord injury, we'll talk to the parents and say, do what's called a sponsorship and help them through the paperwork of getting into our care system. And any of the patients never receive a bill from us.
Do you find, in terms of the parents, Keith, are they, in a long-term sense, are they still quite heavy contributors to the Shriners as well, for the work you actually do for their children?
Some do, some don't. We've helped over 2 million kids since we first started our hospital system. Some give back by becoming Masons and Nobles. Some give monetarily. And it's not why we do it. We do it to help the kids have a normal life. And it's just that charity within the brotherhood that we want to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mitch will agree. That was a really uplifting video, and it's nice to know that there's this kind of, be it somewhat more hidden, but there's this entity that's there, that is there to care for people that have these problems, and that's pretty amazing stuff.
I mean, most of the attitudes when you tell them that they're never going to receive a bill from Shriners or Shriners International, they're like, "What's it? What? Why are you taking care of my kid?"
Yeah.
And it's just that we want to help.
I mean, I would just have that video on my phone constantly. So when anyone says, like, what Shriners all about, I just watch this for 4 minutes.
So we've seen the video of the wealth of how you show. What about patient focus in particular? Like, you must have some really great relationships with, because of the line of work that you're doing. And obviously you just said the parents are miffed as to why you want to help their kids in particular. It must feel so rewarding to you being able to say, listen, we're going to take care of all of this. You don't have to worry. The parents are now like beyond happy, and because they don't have to shell out, because healthcare is particularly expensive in the States.
It is. And I stay in touch with a lot of the kids that I've sponsored over the years. I stay in touch with them and their parents. Even around the world. I was able to get 18 kids when I was stationed in Afghanistan to come to Shriner hospitals in Tampa, because they were out picking up shrapnel in a war zone, and they stepped on a Russian landmine, blew their legs off on 18 different kids, and got them to Germany. Then from Germany, they went into our healthcare system in Tampa.
That's
So,
amazing.
and I still talk to about 10 of those kids.
Yeah. So it's not just US based kids, it's literally kids throughout the world.
Around the world. Yep.
Can we see a video of
Sure.
patient focus in particular, if you've got one?
Sure.
That wasn't so smooth as the last one, Keith.
Let's see what we got here. See if I can get Maddie's.
Is it quite like that though? It helps to know a Shriner before you get the help.
It does. It helps them, but it's not necessary. We have 800 numbers that the families can call if they've known what we've done over the years. Yeah. Let's see.
Hi, my name is Madeline, and I am 18 years old, and I am incredibly excited.
All right, let's try this again.
I don't know why it does that.
I don't either.
Matthew's decided he's had enough. That's it.
Hi, my name is Madeline, and I am 18 years old, and I am incredibly excited to fulfill the role of National Patient Ambassador this year. Right now, I am a first-year student at Maryville University here in St. Louis, Missouri, and I am studying psychology with a minor in education to become an occupational therapist. I am incredibly excited to see where this year takes me.
We found out in 1999 that we were pregnant with Madeline.
You know, it's always exciting and scary at the same time frame. And I think the moment that we found out, you know, we started making plans.
My water broke, and at a week into being in the hospital, they determined that it was best to go ahead and deliver her. So we knew that when we went into the operating room, there was a good chance we wouldn't get to see her because she would be premature. She would probably have to be whisked away and placed on oxygen. And we got to see her face before they took her away. And about an hour or so into recovery, the doctor came and spoke to Jeff and I and said that she was beautiful, that she was healthy, and that was the time frame that he broke the news that she was born without her left arm. It was kind of a brief moment of sadness.
You know, like, how are we going to deal with everyday things? You know, going to the bathroom, combing your hair, taking a bath. You know, how are we going to help her learn something that we ourselves learned in a different manner?
You know, are we going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? How are we going to manage this? How is she going to be a normal kid and be able to do all the things that parents dream that kids can do? About 4 days into Madeline's stay at the hospital, she was there for almost 4 weeks. A doctor came to see us in the FICU unit. He immediately started talking about Shriners Hospital, and he told us that we didn't need to worry about anything, that if we had questions about her orthopedic development or prosthetics, that Shriners Hospital would take care of her.
And you had that reassurance that somebody was there to help out.
Our first visit to Shriners Hospital was when Madeline was about 3 months old, and just to kind of give us an idea of what services that the hospital could provide to us.
Shriners Hospitals for Children was a family that we got to have, and we were always greeted with smiles and hugs. It wasn't a typical doctor's office where you were scared to walk in.
Children like Madeline or all of our upper extremity patients with limb differences, we want them to have every experience that other children have without even thinking about there being a difference.
We have very dedicated occupational therapists with experience and knowledge that are very helpful in helping the patients with upper extremity deficiencies maximize their functional ability.
We also use prosthetics. These are custom fabricated prosthetics, which again can help a child interact with the world around them and help them functionally, also help their self-confidence. What's beautiful about the way our clinics work is that it's not one physician working in isolation. And so I never see patients here at the Shriners Hospital without having a hand therapist or an occupational therapist involved. All of us work together. We have whatever is necessary to provide the comprehensive care that a patient may need.
There's a young woman about to graduate from Pattonville High School who is making waves across the area.
Her goal is to inspire children to know they can do whatever they put their mind to.
That's right, Madeline plays water polo with only one arm.
I have to be honest, a little nervous about my daughter going up against co-ed boys playing water polo. It is one of the most, what I would call, physically demanding sports, and she figured out a way to make it work.
It's a hard sport to play, and she did a very good job being limb different and all. It's a whole new game. It lends itself to her personality, like not giving up and really getting after it in the water.
I specifically remember being in kindergarten, and I had these 5th grade reading buddies, and they would put their arm inside of their shirt and they kind of picked on me for having one arm. And that was the first time where I really realized, wow, I'm different. I just remember that vivid memory of having someone really pick on me, bully me for the fact that I had one arm.
Growing up, I never thought that she was different from anybody else. Madeline and I, we just had like a tight bond. We never fought. We were just best friends. She can find something that's really hard and struggling with it, she can still do it. And that also inspires me.
It's just amazing to watch her blossom and to be able to do the things that she wants to do. I am extremely, extremely proud of her and feel that she will do awesome no matter what she does in life.
I'm very proud of Madeline and being able to get off to college. She's learned some life lessons about, things that she's been able to accomplish and things she probably didn't think she could do so that she could be independent while she was away from mom and dad for the last 9 months.
Having this new role, I hope to inspire other kids and be able to show them that they can do anything that they put their mind to. They just might do it a little bit differently. And that having a limb difference or being different from everyone else is absolutely okay, and it's beautiful. Some days I wake up and I kind of have bad one-arm days, and I ask myself, why do I have one arm? Why am I like this? And it makes me realize that if I was born with 2 arms, I would not be the person that I am today. And I'm so beyond incredibly grateful for Shriners Hospitals for Children, because they've given me that experience to look back and forget that I even have one arm.
It's absolutely amazing, and again, it just goes to show like the impact of like a simple gesture of we're willing to help and step in and do this for you. You're not just impacting that moment; you're impacting their lives forever. And it's not just them; it's their families, it's their friends, and a simple gesture like that. So it's really good to see, and it must fill you with sincere proudness to be a Shriner, and yeah, it's just amazing the work that you guys are doing.
It is, and I am very proud to be a Shriner. Yeah. Not only just to follow in family footsteps, but for all the good, the 2 million kids that we've reached over the years. That it gives me a foundation within the brotherhood of where to focus my energy.
Yeah, and it's brilliant to see, and yeah, long may it continue, and if only it was popular here as it is in the States. That, I mean, we as Masons and as Shriners in a fraternity, we're very charitable as it is, but it's not often you get to see so many tangible results from what you're doing, and it's a very personal thing, the shrine, as I see it, and you get to connect with those people and say, this is where my money's going, and look at the results. So it's amazing.
Well, you got a couple of shrine clubs there, so you guys can start driving it as
Yeah,
young
we
Masons.
can. Keith, Matty is trying to get back on, but I think we won't keep you any longer. Thank you so much for joining us once again for the Young and New Masons Interclubs Social Extra. This is going on our Facebook page, so and YouTube. So everyone in our group and beyond can see this video and see the good work that you and the rest of the Shrine are doing over in Arizona. So Keith, thank you so much. Do come back and see us once again. We'd love to have you back as a guest. And until then, enjoy your 110-degree heat.
Nobody enjoys 110, but thank you for inviting me, and thank you for allowing me to not only spread the brotherhood within the Shrine, but to help you guys understand what it is to be a Shriner and a Shrine Mason.
Amazing. Keith Seplak, Chief Rabban from the Elzaribah Shrine, thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Yep.
Thanks, Keith.
Yep.